My wish for humanity right now is that each person will start to reawaken and that their higher self will really start to guide them. Not just on your own path, but on the bigger picture of the world around us right now. That our higher self can start to awaken the truth within us, whatever that truth is for each of us. And that a bigger picture starts to unfold because we start to trust and be guided by our intuition much more. And that we start to trust that intuition, those nudges from spirit, the guidance, and that we start to make sense of things in a new and different and better way. That we are not clouded by judgment, but that we are guided by love. That we understand through compassion. And that we reflect upon the past couple of years especially. What are we being shown? What are we being shown about what's truly going on? There seems to be a great divide in humanity. And I think we've seen that over the past couple of years especially. And I do feel that those in power have been good at creating that divide. For their own gains and not for the higher good of humanity. It's as if this divide is what they want. Where there is a divide, there is conflict. Where there is conflict, there's judgment. Where there is judgment, there's a lack of compassion. And where there's a lack of compassion, there's an absence of love. If we look back over the pandemic, it was, we're all in it together. But deep down we knew we were not all in it together. There was the divide of those in power and the decisions being made around that, around control, around getting people to cooperate. And if you did not, you felt the wrath of this divide. And I think we all experienced that with our own two eyes. We've experienced it in our everyday reality. We experienced it in the fears that it brought up, the fears that it created and the fears that it generated. And that fear divided us. And once again, the fear of a war, a world war, is doing exactly the same thing. Again, can we go back to that statement, we're all in this together? Our hearts are filled with compassion for those in war-torn areas, suffering. All of the destruction and destroying that is happening. The destroying of human life. And of course, that makes our hearts very compassionate and willing to help. But there is a bigger picture. Because in that willingness to help, and we're all in this together, there is that sense too of a responsibility weighing on all our shoulders to do the right thing. Just like in the pandemic, we better do the right thing. To the point of control. And the right thing now seems to be that many countries, including our own, are taking in the vulnerable from the destruction of a war-torn country. And our compassionate hearts are doing the right thing. But the divide is happening in the overthrow and overpowering of our own vulnerable people. Those who were already vulnerable, those who were already struggling, those who were already forgotten about. And that is where there is injustice and a lack of compassion and a bigger picture. Because those in power are generating money, great wealth from the misfortune of others. And the weakest among us perish first. Again, we must all do our part, our bit. But I ask you, to look through the lens of clarity and see, what are we being distracted from right now? What is truly going on? Why are governments intervening? Is it because of money, wealth, profit? Were we not already in crisis in our healthcare system, our education system, our mental health system and facilities? our waiting lists, the backlog created by the pandemic? Were we not already burdened under the strain of all of that? Or were we not being told the full truth? Is this just another distraction until the next crisis? My hope for humanity, person by person, is that they will use their own third eye, their own intuition, inspiration, guidance, clarity, and inner knowing to see that feeding into fear is a way of being controlled. Internally, fear feeds us, it controls us. Externally, in the media, fear feeds us, it controls us. So it's time that we see our own truth, our own version of events, our own bigger picture. And where we need to start to make a difference, even if it's only a small difference. But to not exclude anyone, that compassion has to go right across the board for everyone. All people, all nations, all races. And has nothing to do with politics. Even though it is politics that is greatly influencing our thinking, our decisions, and our ability to do anything about it. My hope for humanity is each person will awaken one by one and will have had enough of the half-truths, the things that don't add up and the things that don't make any sense. And it is my hope that each person will start to resonate with the truth in their own throat chakra, in their voice, in being empowered, being heard, being understood, and communicating that one by one to make a difference for when humanity wakes up and the light can shine globally. Whether you want to call that divine light, universal light, energy, it doesn't matter as long as that light will shine. And where it can shine on the darkness that we are being kept in, and that light can shine on what we need to know, what we need to hear, what we need to feel and be allowed to feel. For the light can illuminate the dark. Love can heal fear. Truth can end corruption. And wisdom can prevail.